People seek help when they realize that something isn't going right in their lives. It may be something that's happening in their relationships, something that's happening in their work, something in the way that they think about themselves, something that they can't seem to break through. We're going to call those behaviors. So people seek help to change some behaviors that they're having. However, there's more to it than that. Underneath and these are the type of behaviors that are maybe limiting for them. They're not working for them. Underneath their behaviors are emotions. These are often the emotions that we talk about and these are often the emotions that we identify as the negative emotions, like shame, anger, guilt, fear. So someone is living in an emotional state. Maybe they're really afraid. If they're really afraid all of the time, whether they recognize it or not, their behaviors are going to be in alignment with that. Someone who's living in fear is going to have fear-based behaviors. Maybe they want to be in a relationship, but they're so afraid of what that means or that they can even do it that they don't get into a relationship because they're living in this fear. Same thing with things like shame, guilt, or anger. These emotions, which we're calling limiting emotions, are in alignment with their behaviors. But it goes deeper than that. Underneath that are their beliefs. And these are their beliefs about themselves, the world, and their place in it. And again, in this case, we're talking about limiting beliefs. Maybe the person feels like they're not good enough. Maybe they feel like men or women are dangerous. Maybe they believe that the world is not safe. And we can tie these beliefs back to things that have happened to them in their lives and their history up to this point. If someone was holding the limiting belief that the world is dangerous, they may have fear-based emotions, and then they're going to have fear-based behaviors. If this person believes that they're not good enough, they may have shame-based emotions, and then they're going to have shame-based behaviors. If this person believes that they're not good enough, they're going to maybe living in shame. And if they're living in shame, they're going to have shame-based behaviors. And so people come in often and they want to work on what they need to do to change what's happening in their life. And they want strategies and tools to be able to live differently. And that is definitely part of the course of treatment. However, if we just change what's happening at the behavioral level and never deal with what's going on underneath, especially under stress or when things aren't going right, the person's going to return to those behaviors. In order for someone to really get the help that they seek, they need to first intervene on the behaviors. And intervening on the behaviors could mean somebody that has like an alcohol addiction, has to stop drinking. And maybe they need to remove themselves from their normal life in order to be able to do that. But it doesn't have to be that extreme. Reaching out for help is an intervention. Talking to somebody about this is an intervention. But an intervention and awareness of what's going on is just the first step. First, we intervene on the behaviors, and after that, doing work, building the capacity to experience difficult emotions. We tend to, as human beings, when we experience an emotion that we identify as negative, again, like shame, guilt, fear, anger, we try to get away from it. We don't want to experience it. That's not the answer. The answer is to raise your capacity so that you can experience it, because those feelings are part of life. People are going to experience them. Life isn't always going to go our way. In fact, most of the time, it never goes exactly the way we want it. So raising the capacity to experience these emotions is the next step. It's not something that I would often say. If I put it on a website, people aren't going to call. But as a therapist, as a coach, what I'm doing is helping people learn how to feel bad. Learn how to deal with what's challenging. And as they can raise that capacity, then we can get underneath to really identifying those limiting beliefs that are driving them. Those beliefs that have them look at themselves and the world in a fixed way that then don't lead to them experiencing the full range of emotions and being able to choose their behaviors. In this way, not that they're not really at the core at choice, but these beliefs and emotions are driving their behaviors. It becomes like this undercurrent that keeps pushing them back into the ways that aren't working or into the ways that they want to change. We identify and intervene on the behaviors. We build the capacity to experience difficult emotions. And then we address the limiting beliefs that are driving somebody.